Hey everyone, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a breaking news report coming out regarding sanctions onto Russia, and I've got a major update to share with all of you. We're going to talk about this gentleman here on your screen. His name is Lindsey Graham. He's a U.S. Senator out of the state of South Carolina, and for weeks now he's been trying to push a bill through Congress, and if it gets passed, would force 500% secondary tariffs onto any nations buying Russian oil. This would affect major countries like China and India, who could no longer buy this oil, and this could also possibly force Russia to end its war against Ukraine, as Russia may run out of money to continue fighting this war. So new reports here on your screen. Massive Russian sanctions bill expected to move forward very soon. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham expects the Senate to advance a bipartisan bill on sanctions against Moscow that will allow tariffs to be imposed on countries supporting Russia's war. Okay, so this is very big news, and it looks like very soon the U.S. Senate might possibly be taking a look at this bill, and we'll see how soon they decide to hold a vote on this. But I've got some reports today out of X that I want to show you guys. Lindsey Graham was posting some things over there in regards to this bill. And then we also have a report from Newt Gingrich, who's the former Speaker of the House out of the United States. And today he actually gave a date that he's stating supposedly the Senate will be looking at this bill, and it's coming much sooner than you possibly think. And then also want to show you guys a couple of videos coming out from U.S. President Donald Trump today, as you might be wondering, okay, well, if the Senate and the House supports this bill, will Trump try to veto it? Is he supportive of this bill and whatnot? Well, I've got some videos I can show you guys that possibly shows that yes, more than likely he will be supportive of this bill. So we're going to show you different things here today. We're going to go ahead and jump into this. We're going to hop on over here to X with U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham. I very much appreciate President Trump's efforts to end the bloodbath in Ukraine, but it takes willing partners. Ukraine has said yes to ceasefires and to any and all meeting requests, while Putin continues to defy peace efforts. It is now time to put more tools in President Trump's toolbox in order to end the war. I expect the Senate will move the bipartisan Russian sanctions bill that will allow tariffs and sanctions to be placed on countries who prop up Putin's war machine and do not help Ukraine. The bill will have a presidential waiver to give President Trump maximum leverage. This bill has 85 co-sponsors and counting. It's time to end this bloodbath, okay? And I think last time we gave an update on the amount of co-sponsors, I think he had somewhere around 82 or 83. So it looks like he picked up a few more co-sponsors to support this bill, and it looks like it's continuing to gain more and more support within the Senate before they hold this vote. So this is very big news, and we'll see what happens here if the Senate decides to move forward with this. But according to him, it's going to be very soon when the Senate starts taking a look at this bill. So that's good news to see there. Now from Lindsey Graham. President Trump is spot on about the games Putin is playing. The Senate will move soon on a tough sanctions bill, not only against Russia, but also against countries like China and India that buy Russian energy products that finance Putin's war machine. The Senate's bill has a presidential waiver to give President Trump maximum leverage. When it comes to Putin and those who support his war machine, it is time to change the game. And he's actually referring to a video right here. I'm going to show you guys this. But real quick, we did hear some information recently as well from Lindsey Graham that he was proposing that maybe they tell countries like China and India, if you decide to start supporting Ukraine, we won't hit you with these 500% tariffs. So basically switching their side of support. As we know, China recently, we've been hearing a lot of reports that there's lots of supplies that are going over to Russia, showing up over there somehow, whether it be through third parties or other nations or whatnot, that they're using to manufacture drones within their country. And all those supplies, a lot of them are coming from China. So possibly, could we see a flip with some of these nations like China all of a sudden starting to support Ukraine if they don't want to get hit by these tariffs? But I wanted to show you this here real quick. This is Trump speaking today as he was holding a cabinet meeting, and this is from C-SPAN. It says, President Trump, we get a lot of BS thrown at us by Putin. If you want to know the truth, he's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless. Okay, I want to show you guys this clip. This was him speaking today during this cabinet meeting, 40 seconds long. Take a look.
But that was a war that should have never happened, and a lot of people are dying, and it should end. And I don't know, we get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin for you want to know the truth. He's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
Do you want to sanction him? Lindsey Graham has a sanctions bill on Russia. Do you want him to move ahead
I'm
with
looking
that?
at it, yeah, no, I'm looking. The Senate is passing and passed a very, very tough sanctions, but yeah, I'm looking at
And
it.
you'd sign that?
It's an optional bill. It's totally at my option. They passed it totally at my option and to terminate totally at my option. And I'm looking at it very strongly.
Yesterday you said you want to sanction.
But that was a war.
All right, so if you heard right there in the end, he said he's looking at this bill very strongly, okay? I think he's really starting to consider sanctions onto Russia because we've been seeing here that Russia really is clearly playing games. They're not serious about ending this war. They want to continue this invasion on into Ukraine, and Trump has said many times he wants this war over with. So if you see here in this video, he appears to not be very happy with Vladimir Putin. He's also stating here that that Putin is giving a lot of BS towards the U.S. Administration here and clearly is not very serious about ending this war. So it looks like he's more and more supportive every day of potentially hitting Russia with sanctions. Now look at this from Newt Gingrich. Senator Lindsey Graham's important bill on increasing sanctions on Russia will come up on Wednesday. This is a very important bill, which will send a big signal to Putin that talking and killing is a losing strategy. The American people will only tolerate being lied to by a murdering dictator for a limited time. Senator Graham's bill is a prudent next step in putting pressure on Putin to agree to a ceasefire in Ukraine. So we talked a little bit about Newt Gingrich this morning with our update video for the Russia-Ukraine war. This is what he's stating here. Now, I haven't heard this directly from Senator Graham at all, that the bill will come up on Wednesday in Congress within the Senate, but according to Newt Gingrich, he's stating here that Congress is going to start looking at this as soon as tomorrow. So that's very quick. So could we possibly see a vote on this in the next week, maybe even this week? I think it could be highly likely, and we'll have to see how things go when we get more information tomorrow, but that is a huge update there. Now from open source intel, Trump when asked if he will act against Putin since he's so unhappy with the Russian leader. Well, I wouldn't be telling you, don't we want to have a little surprise? Yeah, that's what he said, that a reporter asked him, you know, if you're so unhappy with Vladimir Putin, you know, what do you plan to do about it? And Trump basically says, you know, we're going to have a little surprise. So that's interesting as well. We don't typically see Trump speaking like this. Take a look at this.
Mostly. And it's now up to 7,000 a week. And I'm not happy with Putin. Okay, any questions? Yes.
Yes, sir. You just said that you're not happy with Vladimir Putin. Is there anything that you plan to do to act on that feeling of
Well, I
unhappiness?
wouldn't be telling you. Don't we want to have a little surprise? You know, one of the things we did with the attack is that, and you asked that question, I didn't mean to be rude, but I'm in a rude because I'm looking at some of these crooked people up here. So I'm rude, but your question was asked very nicely. Mostly.
Okay, so we can see here from Trump, again, he seems very irate, very upset with this whole situation, talking negatively towards Vladimir Putin. And just a couple weeks ago, we would never see anything like this coming out from Trump. So clearly it looks like he may be on board here with these sanctions very soon. We'll see if he actually moves forward with it because Trump really flip-flops back and forth a lot. We've seen this numerous times. So let's wait for actual concrete action coming out of Trump before we jump to conclusions. But as we can see here, he is very unhappy, with the Russian leader, Vladimir Putin. So now from Ostap Yarish. Trump, Putin is not treating human beings right. He's killing too many people, so we're sending some defensive weapons to Ukraine, and I've approved that. The question was, so who ordered the pause last week? Trump says, I don't know, you tell me. Yeah, I want you guys to see this as well. This is in regards to the weapon supplies to Ukraine that was halted last week on Wednesday. Supposedly the Pentagon was doing a review, and they decided to halt weapon supplies to Ukraine. And that was going on for about maybe 5 days or so now. And all of a sudden today we heard that Trump was going to be now again sending weapon supplies over to Ukraine. They're going to be sending them some defensive weapons immediately. And Trump says here he doesn't know who ordered the pause last week, as he came out today supposedly stating that he was not the one originally to order this halt of military supplies to Ukraine. So take a look.
You want to send more weapons to Ukraine, as you said last night. Last week, the Pentagon paused some shipments of weapons to Ukraine. Did you approve of that pause?
We want to put defensive weapons because Putin is not treating human beings right. He's killing too many people. So we're sending some defensive weapons to Ukraine, and I've approved that.
So who ordered the pause last week?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
You want to send more weapons.
All right, now while that's very good to hear that the U.S. is now continuing aid shipments over to Ukraine, I thought it was very interesting how he just basically says here, I don't know, you tell me, I don't know who ordered the pause here. So how does the President of the United States not know? Now, is he just stating that, or does he really not know? Thought that was very interesting coming out from him. So we're seeing a complete flop, 180 turn here from U.S. President Donald Trump today, and it really makes me wonder if he is going to be on board to support these sanctions here coming up very soon. And again, expect maybe sometime in the next week, maybe 2 weeks max, that we start to see the Senate starting to take up a vote on this sanctions bill. Okay, so just wanted to share some of these details coming out from the White House and also from U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham here today. So let me know what you think about all these details down below in the comment section. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.